Hello, I'm Annie Otoku and welcome to my review for One Piece chapter 1118. And firstly, I just gotta say, One Piece is so hyped right now, you know I had to jump in and start reviewing the chapter. Starting with the cover series, we continue with Yamato's story, and she's finally setting off on her journey. It's only took 8 volumes of this cover series, but there's not much to say about that. She's setting off, so that's good. And we start the chapter off with a splash, quite literally. The Iron Giant falls into the marine ship, and I never really realized how big the Iron Giant was, but it's basically the size of the ship. But yeah, it falls over, the marines obviously all freaking out, and it falls into the sea. And these marines, they have seen some stuff on this island. We see their reaction to a couple of things later on, and yeah, I'll talk about that later because they've seen some stuff that they should not have been allowed to see. And the message the giant was trying to give to the D's does continue. It's obviously being broken up with like crackling sound effects because, you know, the giant's in the water now. But yeah, the message continues and it said, and their name was, which is interesting. And I'm gonna pitch to you what I think the full Iron Giant's message, or I guess Vegapunk's message. I think it was something along the lines of, and now a message for all the D-Clan. There is someone among you marked by flames, and their name is Jaguar D Soul. Yeah, I basically think the message was saying how, like, Jaguar D Soul is the man marked by flames. Now, how would Vegapunk know about this? We already know Vegapunk has talked to Soul before. So yeah, that's personally my theory about what the message could be. I don't know what you guys think, let me know in the comments. And then, rather than Vegapunk's message continuing, we get the Iron Giant speaking, and he's basically just saying more stuff about Joy Boy, how he wants to reunite, and how he sensed Joy Boy's presence, which is obviously Luffy. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. It's kind of cool, I guess, but they've been setting up this Iron Giant for ages. We then get these random marines seeing stuff they're not supposed to again. They see, is it Wakari? I don't remember any of the Gorosei's names really, but the pig one, they see his true form. No, I think the pig is Topman, right? They don't obviously know it's Topman, but yeah, they do see him. We then cut to one island. I'm not really sure where the first island we cut to is, or if it's supposed to be the same as the second island, but obviously everyone's freaking out, like, what could like cause the signal to go out, or who could have killed Vegapunk, as you would if you like didn't know the context. And yeah, I'm really interested to see the state of the world after this, because everything's gonna be in chaos, and there might be a few more rebellions, you know, yeah, everything's in total chaos, and I'm interested to see where it goes. And then we cut to Alabasta. We see, I think his name was Todo, the guy with the shovel who like was digging for water, and we also see the guy who was like the rebel leader in Alabasta. I don't remember his name. And this is interesting because a couple of the Alabasta citizens are starting to connect the dots, like, hold on, last we heard Vegapunk was kidnapped by Luffy and now Vegapunk's dead. But that's interesting because I thought kind of like the Alabastians, is that what you call them? But yeah, the Alabasta citizens kind of like knew Luffy defeated Crocodile and kind of like saw him as a hero. Maybe they didn't know that, maybe I'm off on that, but I thought they did. And if they knew that, would they really suspect him of killing Vegapunk? I don't know. I guess not every single one of them is gonna know, maybe some of them, you know, but yeah. Then cut to another kingdom. I'm not sure if we're supposed to know where that is, but just like the guy who I'm guessing is the king because he's got a crown and like pointy hair, and then there's like a big guy with like a gun on his back and kind of like a chef's hat. They kind of have quite unique designs, so I feel like we might be supposed to know who they are, but I don't. And we also cut to Dressrosa with Rebecca and Leo. And there's this kind of funny scene where Leo's like, wait, so Luffy did it? And Rebecca's like, don't be silly, because if you remember, the Tontoto were actually quite gullible. I thought that was kind of funny, you know, a nice character moment. We then get the Gorosei talking to York, and they're basically asking her how many satellites are left. And she says, I just checked who's interfacing, and it's kind of interesting that she could do that, but it doesn't seem like too far of a stretch. And she basically says the only ones that are left are Lilith and Atlas, and this is interesting because it confirms kind of that Shaka and Edison and Pythagoras, I think was the other one. It confirms that they're all dead, which is interesting because obviously Oda's always had a problem with death, so I was always a bit skeptical, but I'm glad that like confirms that, because I do think Oda's getting slightly better with death nowadays. And it's obviously hard to tell who's saying this next bit, since the Gorosei have like mind reading powers or whatever. We're not really sure what it is yet, but in the picture it's Topman, the pig guy. And whichever Gorosei it is that is speaking, they're basically just saying, should we have the rest of like the satellites that are still alive, Lilith and Atlas, eliminated? And everyone agrees. So yeah, that they're going to be killed. And I do actually have a theory that potentially every single satellite and Vegapunk will die, and that's looking more and more true. Maybe just Lilith will survive, and she's going to be like, they live on within me, you know, that kind of thing. And then we get to see Luffy and Dory and Broggy make it to the ship, and they kind of like jump on. Luffy's very excited to see an Elbaf ship. I'm very excited for Elbaf just to see like Luffy and Usopp's reactions to things, because we know that I like really respect the culture and like find it really exciting and stuff. And this was just a little taste of that, I feel. But this also makes me feel that we are so close to Elbaf, which is obviously very, very exciting, because like they're on the ship now, all they've got to do is sail away. And then we just once again cut to kind of like the fodder marines. One of them's kind of going like, we can't let them escape, and the other guy's going, no way, the giants are too tough, we can't stop them. And then we get kind of a cute page with Dull, Bluegrass, and even the like robotic giraffe have been turned to children. And a couple of things about this. One, I did not recognize Bluegrass at first, because obviously she's an old lady, so she's got like grey hair and is really short and stuff, and like her childhood form looks nothing like that, which obviously makes sense because like her hair would have gone grey over time and stuff. And also it's interesting that Bonnie's powers work on like the robotic giraffe, even though I do just feel like that was Oda maybe just being like, I want to draw the robotic giraffe as a baby. But yeah, it is kind of cute. And then we get an interesting scene with Bonnie, more interesting that she's actually aware of this, but she's basically saying to the Marines, you'll be in trouble for letting me escape, which I guess she could have figured stuff out, but yeah, it's interesting. And then we get a rare thing about the chapter which I didn't actually like. It was Luffy reuniting with Oimo and Koshi, and why was this sofa in the background? Like, it was just in the background of a panel, and like it's just like Luffy being like, hey, good to see you again. Also, one thing interesting about that is Koshi is very damaged, which kind of just shows how strong Dole is, because if you remember, she kind of like punched him. But yeah, I'm annoyed that got sidelined. We get Nomi talking to Sanji, and she's preparing to leave, and we get this kind of funny scene where Sanji's obviously like, I'll protect Lilith and Nomi and Robin with my life, and Usopp's in the background like, why aren't you protecting the rest of us? Why only them three? It is a joke that's been done before in One Piece, but it is very funny. We then once again get the fodder marines seeing something they're not supposed to. The bird Gorosei, the one with like the scar on his neck who's blonde, I think, isn't he Mars? I'm not 100% sure, but basically he flies down and it looks like he breathes fire, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen him use that ability yet, so that's kind of interesting. Kind of weird, but yeah, I like it. This is where we get a bit more fleshed out for the giant warrior pirates, because I'm guessing we meet that cook here, because this like giant brings out a ton of food for Luffy, and he's like, the captain warned me about your big appetite. But there's also a funny thing here, because obviously this guy's a giant, he probably has to eat a lot, right? And even he's been like, whoa, Luffy, you're eating loads, so that's kind of funny. And yeah, I'm guessing that guy's that cook. And then we get two giants kind of like blocking the Gorosei's like fireball thing. And this is why you gotta read One Piece chapters 2 or 3 times, because I just assumed these two are Dory and Broggy, but I don't think they are, especially since a couple panels later, I believe they're given names, and I believe their names are Sig and Bojawn. I'm not actually sure who said that, or if they were referring to those two giants in particular, but I believe they're their names. This is pretty cool though. We're finally getting to meet Dory and Broggy's crew. We get to meet a few of them in this chapter, and it's very cool. We then get to see one of the giants is on fire, and Sanji's kind of like thanking it, which is nice to see the whole crew bonding with the giants, not just Luffy and Usopp. But we then get a scene which kind of makes me a little worried for the future, because Bonnie's like moved Daddy and Vegapunk over now, obviously referring to Kuma and Vegapunk. And so yeah, someone, Atlas it is, she begins to move them, and I'm hoping that's just so we can have like a proper burial for them and say a proper goodbye. We are with like the giants who are based on Vikings, so maybe they'll get a Viking funeral where like you send them out on a burning ship. But I hope that's not so they can like be brought back and it's once again another fake out death, because Vegapunk's death was handled really well, and Kuma just him like showing up punching Saturn, that was all really cool. So it would be cool if they stayed dead, it would make them fantastic characters. And we then get Dory and Broggy basically saying like, it's no use, we can't escape these monsters, they can chase us to the end of the earth, which got me thinking, are they gonna like stay back and fight the monsters for everyone else to escape? That was a theory. I believe Murphy brought it up, how like Dory and Broggy might die, but yeah, that could be something. We then get another earthquake, and someone, I forgot who, actually says like, wow, the sea really is rising. So the sea's rising even more. I assumed like Lelouch disappeared and then like it was just gonna rise that once, and then it won't rise again until like Eam uses the weapon again. Or maybe this implies that he has just used it, I don't know. But if he was going to use it now, or she, I guess, if they were going to use it now, wouldn't they use it on Egghead? That's where the most trouble is. But the Goro's staying there, so maybe not. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation with this arc. And then we get definitely the scene of the chapter, but first something kind of small that I noticed. Dory and Broggy obviously both dancing because, oh yeah, Luffy goes into Gear 5th, that's important to know. But yeah, Dory and Broggy are dancing and it's almost like they can't control it, which is kind of fun. But yeah, then Luffy goes over to like Bonnie and says some stuff. I'll pull up what he said. Yeah, Luffy kind of comes up and he's like, don't you want to blow these guys out of the water? And Bonnie's like, no, I couldn't do that. And then Luffy says, I sure you can. I don't know how your powers work, but I'm sure you got it in you. And it's really nice and innocent and such a Luffy thing to say. I really, really like that line. And this end scene, man, it's so good. How can people not like One Piece? But yeah, this scene is really good. Bonnie gets a flashback to Luffy, and then she's like, sure I can. Give me a distorted future where I'm totally free. And that line, man, it's so good. It really feels like it's like coming from a child, which is what Bonnie is. And yeah, Bonnie turns into like a Nika form as well. And even one of the giants says, wow, 2 Nikas. So Bonnie might straight up just be another like reincarnation of Nika. We don't know how this like reincarnation thing works, but maybe. And I can picture this scene being really good in the anime, because like on the side we get like a scene of like Kuma's body being all messed up, and we get like a scene of Ginny, and then we see like Bonnie and Luffy being in like that Gear 5th forms, and they both turned into giants as well, which is really good. This end scene, man, it's so good. And lastly, we once again end on the giant as a cliffhanger. I know Grand Line Reviews complains about that all the time, and it is very annoying, especially since the giants literally got up, walked for a bit, got knocked into the ocean, and we've ended on that like 50 times. What is going on? But yeah, really good chapter other than a couple complaints I had. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!